start, I would ask the pages. I do have a handout. Ask the pages. Mr. President, while those have been handed out, I certainly would like to introduce Senator Jacobs, if I may use some names during my presentation. I would like to introduce Senator Jacobs' family. First of all, her spouse of 41 years, Bruce Jacobs. Now her daughters. First of all, Beth and Chad live near Abington, Maryland. Beth is a headhunter, and Chad owns and operates his own mold remediation company. They have 3 children, Gabe, Cameron, and Jake. Becky and Ray live in Delaware, just south of Dover, where Ray is the operations and programming manager for Delaware State Parks. Becky teaches Spanish at Polytech High School in Dover. They have 3 children, Abby, Emmeline, and Raymond. And Laura and Jeremy also live near Abington, Maryland, in Harford County. Jeremy is a police officer after Grace. Laura taught Edgewood Elementary School for a number of years. She now homeschools her granddaughter, Annabelle, with the help of the youngest, Charlotte. And I would say that Laura is also a runner, and I see her on the Mason-Dixon Trail on the weekends sometimes. Please welcome Laura. Mr. President, members of the Senate, there's a Harford County history book, Our Harford Heritage, written by Cecil. There's a chapter in there that talks about Harford County women. It always says, he's got a line in there that said, Harford County women were hard workers of strong faith. When I was going over my remarks, I thought that was a fitting description of my good friend, Nancy Jacobs. Nancy is finishing up a 20-year legislative career. She was first elected to the House of Delegates in 1994, where she served on the House Judiciary Committee as a member of the Criminal Justice Subcommittee. In 1995, she was named Freshman Minority Whip, and in 1997, she was appointed Deputy Minority Whip. Senator Jacobs was elected to the Maryland State Senate in 1998 and serves on the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee. Before being elected as Senate Minority Leader in 2011, she was elected Minority Whip in 2008. And I would point out that Nancy was the first woman elected as a minority leader in the Maryland State Senate. And I think that speaks well for her. Just a couple of tidbits I picked up also was that on the minority side, we have these cheat sheets. They're nice to have second-reader votes and third-reader votes, and we kind of know what's coming down the pipe. And Nancy was the originator of that system in her leadership roles. And I think, I know on this side of the aisle, we're very, very thankful for that. She served on several different boards and commissions. I counted up to 75 boards and commissions. I don't want to. I'm not going to read them all. Before she served on the JPR committee, she served on Economic and Environmental Affairs Committee from 1999 to 2001. She also was the Senate Chair of Harford County Delegation from 1999 to 2008, and the Senate Chair of Cecil County Delegation 2003. In her work in the House, she was named Minority Deputy Whip 1997 to 1999, and she served on the Judiciary Committee 1995 to 1999. She has been recognized as one of Maryland's top women by the Delegates in 1998, 2009, and 2014. Now, Mr. President, you'll like this. You know, one of my favorite songs, I think it's yours, Barbara Vandrell wrote a country song back in the 1990s. It was for George Jones, and it was, you know, when country wasn't, I was country when country wasn't cool. Remember that, Mr. President? Well, I always like, when I speak to some of the high schools, I always like to say Nancy Jacobs was conservative when conservative wasn't cool. You know, nowadays in minority party, everyone likes to out-conservative each other. See all these things. Well, I'm more conservative. No, I'm more conservative. Nancy Jacobs was conservative, and conservative wasn't cool. She broke the mold, at least in Harford County, began the trend throughout the state. And whether you agree or not, you know, we have a right to disagree in the Senate, but as a member of the minority party, she always stood firm. And as a woman, as we all know, sometimes there was a double standard. It's okay for a guy to be real tough and push back, stand up for what you believe. Sometimes for a woman doesn't. She's called a lot of other things. But Nancy always did that with grace. She stood upright, stood for what she believed, and really broke the mold for a lot of young conservatives, particularly women in this state. And I think she should be recognized for that. And she will go down as one of the top, I believe, Republican leaders in the state of Maryland. And she should be remembered for that. And finally, one of the last things Senator Hoover said to me, and she was very close to Senator Hoover, I got to see him the Sunday before he passed, and he said, Barry, don't stay down there too long, that you don't get to travel and enjoy your family before it's too late. And the other thing he said, keep an eye on Jake, and that's what we call her, Jake, while you're down there. I'm sure that he's smiling today, but beyond her many legislative accomplishments, her true success, and you see it on her flyer, her true success is that of a wife, a mother, a grandmother, all of which she rightly enjoys, to deserve, to enjoy that success as she steps away from her legislative career. So on behalf of the people of Harford County and Cecil County and the state of Maryland, we thank her for her sacrifices over the years and say, good luck, enjoy your family, God bless.
Notable accomplishments in the field of public safety and legislation in 2005 and 7, and justice law in 2007, creating a mandatory minimum sentence for violent child sex offenders. These landmark laws will be a central part of her legislative legacy. But she also leaves an institutional legacy of finding the humanity in the legislative process that underlies the partisan conflicts in the caucuses that are a part of representative democracy. She was very good friends with Delegate Sharon Roosevelt, a Democrat who was as liberal as the good senator is conservative, but they were devoted friends, and they were famously profiled back in the 1990s as Annapolis' odd couple in the Baltimore Sun. And I've always had great affection for her, despite the fact that she's always made me look very short and very liberal. And when I was embroiled in the great chess scandal in 2013, she leapt to my defense and said that she had seen me playing chess, and liberals were testifying before too. So when we were the opposing floor leaders on the marriage equality debate several years ago, many people remarked to me how civil and even friendly our debate was. And I always said that was because the senator from Harford County is a gentle lady and a woman of real conviction and integrity. Mr. President, I remember once reading that Abraham Lincoln astonished his friends when he said that Stephen Douglas, who he debated all over the state, was his best friend in the world. And although they clashed on every matter of political substance he could think of, that he would no more fight him than he would fight his own wife. And he apparently wept uncontrollably when he learned that Douglas had died. And I think there are a lot of people on the other side of the aisle who are really going to miss the senator when she goes. I have a favorite Bob Dylan song called Restless Farewell, in which Dylan sings, "For every foe that I ever did face, the cause was there before we came. And for every cause I ever fought, I fought it full without regret or shame." And what Dylan is saying is that the disagreements that we've had in politics, they predate us and they will survive long after we're gone. So there's nothing personal about the conflicts. We've got the opportunity to create real friendships as we all try to advance the common good as best as we understand it. So the senator has made friends all over this body, and she's fought her causes without regret or shame, and in that fact alone, there is very great honor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Gosh, I don't know how you wrap up, or any of us are ever going to be able to wrap up our years in the Senate. Obviously, that we've got many fond memories, not going to be able to do it. But, you know, from my first term in the House of Delegates, I've met so many people, like Sharon Roosevelt. We had no idea that we were polar opposites when we got seated next to each other on the House Judiciary Committee. What we did know was we loved our kids, and she was extremely jealous of the fact that I have 3 daughters. And then once my granddaughter Abby arrived, she was even more jealous because, as most of you know, Sharon has 2 boys, and her oldest just got married, so we're hopeful that he's going to bring her some granddaughters. But she really wants a girl. Speaking of the House of Delegates, I want to introduce my good friend, former Delegate Carmen Amadori, who's up in the balcony. Carmen came to the House after I did, but we worked together a lot. I introduced bills, and she cross-filed, and she introduced them, and I cross-filed. We got along so famously that we even rented a house together for a year with our staff in intern staff, and this is the part where I want to introduce a couple people who are very, very special to me. Seated on the first row is a woman that has been with me from the very beginning, and that is Gertrude Zvonar. And at one point, Gertrude kept saying she's going to retire, and I said, no, you can't retire. We came in together, and we're going out together. And so I'm thrilled that Gertrude is here today. That's my granddaughter, Charlotte. Now, those of us who have kids know that being an elected official is not easy on our families. Bruce does all our grocery shopping because when I go, I don't come back. I always see people and we like to talk. And as youngsters, it was tough because we go out to dinner just like you guys do with your families, and we were always getting interrupted. And, sometimes it gets something like that. A little bit upset by that. But at the same time, my girls have been my greatest defenders. On the campaign trail, sometimes people can say things that make your children very upset. And that was the case with us, too. And our girls were my biggest defender. And, I have a feeling, it was hard to keep them sometimes under check. Don't take somebody's head off when they say something nasty about your mother that's not true. And I have a feeling there might be a couple of people out there somewhere that I'm unaware of that may have gotten the wrath of my girls. Our daughter Becky, let me back up just a second. Our granddaughter Abby's granddaughter. Abby's 14. Abby's been down here. They used to live in Annapolis the first couple of years of her life, and which was great for me because I always had Abby with me whenever I could. You remember? And when she was about 3 or 4, Mr. President, you might remember this. I'm not sure Abby will. I had her on the Senate floor, and I introduced her to you. And she was smiling and shaking your hand as I introduced her to the President. And then we got George Bush. Well, when she was about 5, she decided that she was ready to start introducing me to fundraisers, and she did it quite well. I kind of feel sorry for my son-in-law, my daughter Becky, because, my girls aren't political. And it's funny because they married, all 3 of them married young men who love to get into political discussions with their mother-in-law. And poor Becky, not only does she have a husband that likes to talk to me about it in their home, Ray and Abby kind of send Becky out of the room at times with their constant political talk. But as you know, too, our kids do a good job of keeping us humble. I think that's probably one of their assigned duties as young people. Our younger kids may not fully understand yet what we do down here. I'm hoping that someday they will. I mentioned Gertrude to you. And I'm thrilled that she was able to come today. I'm also joined by a couple of other people that I'm so excited are here. Gertrude, up in the balcony is Kathy Fallon. Kathy was our Harford County secretary a number of years when I served in the House. And when I came over to the Senate, she came with me. Next, where's Hilda? Hilda Austin. Hilda was down here before I was. She used to work in the House Judiciary Committee. And she used to work, she's chief of staff for Senator Bob Hooper. And like Bear said, Senator Hooper told him to take care, watch out for me. Senator Hooper told me to take care of Hilda. And I have to tell you, I haven't been taking care of Hilda. Hilda's been taking care of me. And it's been a great ride. Now, Cindy Titus, who's up there, I asked her to join my staff a couple years ago when I ran for Congress. She was a volunteer. She came in. She so good that she ran the whole office, and she keeps our office straight as well. Seated next to Cindy is Mike Kalinsky, who we fondly call the co-senator. I mean, who else down here could have the former director, Mark Trent, working in their office and helping? And Mike's a great friend, and I'm thrilled to have him. The gentleman right there with the camera is Marco. He's the one that did brochures. He never does anything halfway. For the last 20 years, he's done every piece of literature that I have, and has done a great job. Well, Mr. President, I just want to thank you. You've made this experience of being down here extra special. And I would like to point out to you, Mr. President, that in your last few elections, I voted for you. I have a special fondness for the members of my committee, and especially the Vice Chair, Lisa Glad, and Senator Forehand. We're the only women on there, and we got to sit together sometimes. And our Republican colleagues, I never went out and smoked cigars and played poker with them or anything. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing. Who's doing that? You want me to name names? But people would say, "Gosh, you're the only Republican woman. Isn't that awfully hard?" And to that I say, "No, it's not. I work with a great bunch of guys. They want me to play basketball with them once in a while, Senator Dillon and Senator Zerkin." So I have just really, really enjoyed it all. And this coming summer, you'll see me working on political campaigns. It'll feel very funny not to be out there politicking myself and working on political campaigns, but you'll see me helping out my good friend Barry, who has been a great friend. And he mentioned something the other day about coming back next year and asking for money. Well, I'm sorry, next year during the snowstorms and the cold, I'll be on a golf course in Florida with my husband. And Senator Pugh and I have enjoyed some golf times together as well. There's a whole lot more I could say, but I won't. I just want to say, thank you to each and every one of you. I really appreciate you.